Testing, testing, testing. Okay. All right. So you ready?
Yeah, and I'm not touching my desk.
That's good. That's good. You'll
So
you'll wind up touching it when we get
yeah,
going.
I'm gonna put my phone so it doesn't like
I'm going
ding
to
or
put it
ring.
like silent,
Yeah, that's what I
like if
just
you could
did.
turn the vibrate or whatever off. Um. Okay. And whatever.
What?
I was gonna say now you're welcome to my world now. Okay. This is you're about to learn what Toby and Alan and Sean deal with on a weekly basis. Okay.
Listen, I already know everything about you.
Yeah, you don't know everything. You don't know everything. What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 1 of Breaking Bells. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by the most beautiful ex-wife co-host in all the land, Toni. What's up, Toni?
What's up? That was a lovely introduction.
You like that, right? See, I'm quick on the draw. It'll probably change every week until I can think of something that I like and I set on, and I just do it that way. Like Toby's my best friend in all the land. Sean is the greatest co-host in all the land. So I had to give you something, you know.
I'm the beautiful ex-wife.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so this is weird to some degree because we've never podcasted before.
No,
Like,
not
we've
really.
done some videos together in the past,
Hmm.
which were kind of like podcasts to some degree.
Yeah.
Um, we did basically during the Amiibo time when I was known as the Geek Guru at that time. You and I were doing a lot of stuff together. We used to sit at the kitchen table and record
Hmm.
videos together all the time, and we would talk about games coming out. We also did a Let's Play series for a very short time for Amiibo Festival for Toby's channel with him and Karina,
Yeah,
which kind of goes right along with the theme here with Animal Crossing.
that's
So, first off, let's before we get into the episode, let's just discuss like why in the world would you want to do a podcast with me? Of all people in the world, why would you say yes to me to do a podcast?
I don't know. I felt sorry for you.
Wow. Wow. Okay. All right.
No, no.
Nice. Okay, I see how this is going to start out.
I
Okay.
enjoy your podcast. I've always enjoyed your podcasts, and I
Thank you.
think this is like a good one for
You
me
never
and you
told
to
me that
do.
you never told me that you enjoyed my podcasts.
Oh yeah, I always thought you were really good at them.
Thank you. See, finally a compliment comes out of all these years. You finally pay me a compliment.
I try.
But so what happened? Just so people can get an understanding. We're just going to throw it out there. So in January, Toni and I separated. In March-ish, April, something like that. We came to the determination that divorce was inevitable, and that's the way we're going to head down things. We put our house up for sale. I moved out. I got this place. Pretty much where we're at the moment. We're not officially divorced. It's coming soon. But during that time, I think when we first separated, like we talked, but we didn't really talk per se. It was kind of like, I don't know. It was kind of like pleasantries. Like
It's kind of
you were,
business-like.
yeah. It was kind of like we were saying stuff together, but it wasn't necessarily anything of meaning, more or less. So then, essentially, what happened was we started to talk one day about some issues that had arisen, and we started working through them. And it was almost like probably the first time we had a good heart-to-heart conversation and all of that. And out of that, it came down to like you and I just decided that we wanted to remain friends and all this.
Hmm.
Like at the end of the day, when everything's done, we spent over 10 years together. 9 of those 10 we were married, and we just felt like why just throw that away? Why throw that friendship away for nothing? For essentially nothing. You know what I mean? Like, and I've always felt that you know, and we discussed this, that like you're my family and you feel the same way, and that's the way we always wanted to remain through it all. And I hear a dog. Who's the dog?
That's Bella.
Oh, tell Bella to calm down. Tony's over there. Tony's over there in Animal Kingdom at the moment.
I mean, it goes good with our show.
Yeah, exactly. To some degree. Grace is over there sleeping. He's normally the noisy one. Yeah, and he's just chilling out. But so anyway,
Bella has to go to the bathroom.
Oh, good Lord. Do we need to stop or?
Yeah.
Okay,
for a second.
Go ahead. Just gotta do. Okay, so we're time back in, I guess.
Okay.
All right. So in that in the meantime, throughout that conversation, because I had been thinking about this. The crazy thing is I really had been considering this idea for like a year. I just never had the courage to ask you to do it. I didn't think you'd be anything you'd be interested in. So when we were separated, I was just like, I'm going to be honest with you, because that's the one thing I do in my podcast. I'm always just blunt and stupidly honest. But I was just like, what's a way that I can continue to talk to Toni for the rest of my life? And I'm like, I'll just make a podcast. And I was like, I want to do a podcast anyway, so I gotta find the courage to push and ask. So in that conversation we were having, where we were kind of like going through things, I just threw it at you. I was like, hey man, I would really love to do a podcast with you, even videos, and we've discussed that as well, like you coming over and doing videos and stuff like that. Like you were in the intro to Nintendo Guru Daily this week, and we even discussed further like doing more stuff as things go on. But I would like you to do more than just that, like maybe help with unboxings and things like that, like as we go forward. But regardless, so I proposed to you the idea of like, hey, let's do a podcast. So I want to throw it to you. What goes through your head when that comes at you?
You know, I actually kind of was feeling that because I stopped my YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped it because I was the working housewife, and I'm not a housewife anymore. And I could have just continued, you know, and did something else, but I just said no. You know, I'm just going to delete the channel. Yeah. So I kind of miss having, like, a creative thing to do. Yeah. So when you had brought it up, I was like, you know, and I miss, like, YouTube. I miss being on video and stuff like that. So I was like, that's actually a really good idea. And you're like the king of the podcast. So if I'm going to do it with anybody, I might as well do it with the guru.
I don't know about that. It depends on who you ask that question to. I'm the idiot of podcasts. I'll give you that one. The court gesture.
I can agree with that.
You know what?
Plus, are we like the first kind of divorced, separated podcast ever?
It's very possible. It's very possible. I think so. I think at least in the Nintendo world, we're definitely that. So, you know.
Like, how cool is that?
The funny thing is so the other day, you come into Twitch, right? I'm streaming on Twitch, and all of a sudden, Miss Guru pops up. And I was like...
No, Mrs. Paul's over
there. Oh, that's right, Mrs. Paul's over there. Mrs. Paul's over there. And I was just like, I like that name. You're going to keep that... that name's not going nowhere. You're going to leave it there.
I can't change it. They won't let me anyway.
Thank you, Twitch. I paid Twitch. I went to them and I was like, listen, here's $5. Just make her keep that name. So anyway. So the idea, if you haven't figured out by now, by the logo and the name Breaking Bells and all that. So the idea, how we got to that point was, obviously got to have a name of the podcast. So we were kind of kicking ideas back and forth, and I kept saying to Toni, like, do you have any ideas? Can we think of anything? And then I just started listing names. Like, that's what I do when I start creating podcasts. I just start throwing all these names out there. Like, what can I do? And how can it be? And blah, 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 blah. And I work my way through. And then I kind of liked the idea. I mean, you were a fan of the show, too. Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Love
we
that
both
show.
we both love that show. And so I kind of got this weird idea. That's where it all stemmed from, honestly. Breaking Bells is probably the dumbest Animal Crossing name for a podcast.
Awesome.
Well, but the thing, what I mean is like, if you're going to try to throw it out there for people to know what you're talking about, Breaking Bells doesn't even remotely sound like an Animal Crossing podcast.
You probably would have to really know Animal
currency,
Crossing to know like that bells are even
the currency
related.
and all that, which everybody knows immediately.
Yeah.
So then I got the idea of like, wow, here we go, Adam Leonhardt. This guy is the brain trust of everything I do. Like, anybody that's looking to get artwork done, go to Adam Leonhardt. This guy is
in your head. He can do it.
Dude, it literally, this is what happened. It's in my head, and I'm saying, okay, Breaking Bad, Walter White, Jesse Pinkman, sitting on the couch. It's one of these classic pictures of them, like, wearing the yellow jumpsuits, you know, one having it on the head, the other one having it on the masks, one around the neck, one over the head. All it's something you saw so often in that show, and I was like, who could be the two that would be, like... And I was like, KK Slider's really cool. So KK Slider, I think, would be, like, really awesome to put in this picture. And then I thought, like, gotta be Tom Nook. Because Tom Nook is all about the money. Like, everybody that seriously, like...
Tom Nook's the one that knocks.
Yeah. Yeah, and they say all the time, like, Tom Nook is a crook. Like, you always hear that saying, like, you know what I mean? So I just thought, like, this is ideal. This is perfect. So then I reached out to Adam. I was like, this is what I'm thinking. And, man, it wasn't even like a week or two later, I get a DM on Twitter, and he's like, this is the weirdest picture I have ever done in my entire life. This is the most surreal, weird, crazy thing I've ever done. And I was like, and I don't know what he's talking about at this moment, right? Like, I don't know what the hell. Like, are you getting into some weird troll porn pictures or something? I don't know what you're thinking, Adam. And the next thing I know, he sends me the picture, and I'm like, oh my God. This is the greatest thing ever. It's is
like
the most
borderline disturbing.
But it's amazing.
You see like these cutesy little characters as like Walter White and Jesse Pinkman.
Oh, it's so amazing.
Awesome.
It is so amazing. So the concept behind the show now, so we're gonna just keep moving along because we want to get people to be up to speed of how we got to where we're getting to. Is basically Animal Crossing. So the hard part is we're taking this on with nothing in the horizon. No, there's rumors every couple months of like Animal Crossing going to get announced for Switch, and I know. How long did we wait for the Wii U? Like 4 or 5 years?
Ever.
We kept thinking like every E3, like here it comes, it's going to come for the Wii U, and then nothing. And then especially like when Amiibo Festival comes, and it's like okay, maybe next year, and then nothing. And then when they did the Mario Kart DLC, it was like all right, it's coming. There's got to be a reason, and then nothing. And it was just like constantly hitting that brick wall. Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see what kind of topics we create and all that stuff. So pretty much we wanted to this is the first episode, we wanted to do like an origin story to reveal our Animal Crossing street cred. You know what I mean? So this way people can understand like, hey, these guys, they know their stuff about Animal Crossing.
I feel like out of any video game there is, Animal Crossing I have the most street cred with.
Oh, yes. And the crazy thing is, okay, so let's do this. We'll start with me, and the only reason is because
that makes sense.
How we get to the point of this. So, all right, so we're going to go back to the GameCube era, all right? And I want to say the year is probably, I want to say it's 09 or 08. Well, so we've been together for 10 years.
Has to be before that.
So 08. So it's probably like 06.
Yeah.
Because it was just before I moved to Millville, and we
met in 07.
We met in 07, so probably 05, 06. Somewhere in there, I'm living in the condos next to the mall. And I was hard up for money, didn't have no money, just basically like living hand to mouth. And I would go to Sam Goody every single day. And I would buy DVDs. And because when we met, I had like 700 movies. Like I used to collect
like
everything.
Your own Blockbuster.
Yeah, I didn't have any cable TV when I lived in the condo because I was watching movies. I had 700 movies. I'm like, why do I need cable TV? I got all these movies. So essentially, I'm going there, and there was this weird thing that used to happen. So Sam Goody was the best store ever. I spent so much money in Sam Goody that I was actually the number one customer in the store. I spent the most money in the store per month than over every customer that was there. And it got so bad that if you ever watched the television show Cheers back in the day, whenever Norm would walk into Cheers, everybody would scream his name, Norm. And that's the way it was when I went into Sam Goody. I would walk in, and they were like, Bob Paul's here. And I'm like, oh my God, what is going on here? Like, calm down. Like, this is not that big a deal. So, as time grew on, I just became friends with all these people. And there was a manager there named Jim who we would talk movies all the time. And he turns around one day, and he says to me, he realizes that I play video games. We start talking video games. And he's like, man, you got like a rich history of Nintendo. And I was like, oh God, yeah, man. Like, I go back to the NES era, man. Like, I was like, actually in this mall downstairs is where I bought my first NES with my mom. If you want to know that story, go check out We the Gamer Cast episode 16 with the Geek Guru. I go through the whole story with Sean Capri. So I turn around and I said to him, I'm like, dude, I actually bought my first NES downstairs. And he was like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, so you like what's your favorite game? I'm like, oh my God. At the time, and it's still at Mike Tyson's Punch-Out and Kid Icarus and all these games. I'm rattling off all these Zelda and Super Mario Brothers, the original. And he's like, oh, you would love this game called Animal Crossing. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, that game doesn't even sound like anything remotely like I would like. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, no, really, this game is right up your alley. I'm like, I just told you the laundry list of games that I think are the best ever. And you're coming out with this stupid animal game? Like, I'll go play The Sims, dude. I don't want to play this nonsense. And he's like, what? He's like, please. And I walked out the store. Come back a couple days later. Jim's there. We start talking. He's harping on me about Animal Crossing. This went on for about a month of just him constantly. Finally, I was like, dude, enough of this. I'm not going to buy this game. And he's like, you are going to love this game. And I'm like, why? And he's like, this game has all those games you love in it. And I'm like, what? And he's like, you can go in this game and find NES consoles and play the original NES games. So back during the GameCube, we had no internet. We didn't have Virtual Console that is on the Wii and the Wii U and on the 3DS. We didn't have no way to play these classics. So he hits me with that, and I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, listen, this is what we do. You go down, you buy the game. I'll walk you down and I'll show you the game. You buy the game, and then I will give you my memory card. And when I give you my memory card, in the basement will be all the NESs. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So now I play this game for a week, and I really don't understand what's going on. But as I'm playing it, I'm starting to fall in love with it, little by little, because I'm starting to fall in love with the characters, and just the way it goes through. And I don't want to get into all that, like our favorite, because we'll have episodes where we discuss that, but like, this is just the origin story. So I go back to Jim after like a week or two, and I'm like, dude, I want to play, I'm done playing this Animal Crossing. This is stupid. I don't want to play it. I'm running around trying to get these NES consoles. They're nowhere to be found. And he's laughing at me because he knew that was the juice that I needed to get in. So then he's like, okay, here's my memory card. Just fire it up. Go into the basement. When you go into the basement, he had every single game in the basement. So I would go in, and I would just go up and click whatever one, and it would flip, and it would go over, and you would play Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. But it wasn't Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. It was just Punch-Out, Mr. Dream, Super Mario Bros., the original Legend of Zelda. Like, all these games were baked into that game. And I'm like, this is unbelievable. So now I spend probably a month just going home, playing different old school games, and then in the meantime I would like jump out of the house, put my town back in, and then just run around and like go do stuff. And like, you'd have to pick weeds and you'd have to do all this stuff. And then eventually it just got to the point where I got hooked. Like, it sunk me in big time, and that was it. Lights out, game over. Like, I fell in love with the game. So, I want to pause there, because now we fast forward to a couple years later, and I never got rid of my GameCube, never got rid of my stuff. You could pick up your story now.
Yeah, well, I always had Nintendo systems, but for some reason, I never got a GameCube. I ended up getting, because I really got into Kingdom Hearts because it was like a Disney thing, you know, kind of. And so I went and bought a PlayStation instead of a GameCube. So I never even heard of Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Never, you know, never came up on my radar. So I guess I don't really remember how it came up with you. Maybe because I just, you know, we both like video games, and so you had mentioned the game, and I was just kind of like you said, oh, you know, you're like a person, and you're living in a town with animals, and you do stuff for the, you know, and I'm just like, what? Like, that sounds so stupid. Like, what kind of a game? Like, what do you mean I live in a town with animals and I do stuff for animals? You know, I didn't get it. So then I think you started playing it to show me. Yes. You know, like what was going on with it. And I was like, well, you know, that's kind of cool. You know, but still was.
So but I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I broke it out when you bought me the Wii.
Yeah.
Because you could play GameCube games in it. I never took out my GameCube and had it set up.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what it was. And I was just kind of watching you for a little bit, and I was like, yeah, you know, that's kind of cool and everything. And then I guess I started playing it. And I just really liked the idea. I think I started in your existing town, though.
Yeah, I think I believe you originally started in my town, and then very quickly you were like, no, you stayed in my town the whole time.
I stayed in your game. Yeah. I think I had like my own house.
Yeah, she had your own house.
Yeah.
Because you had in that original GameCube game, you had all four houses right in the middle. You couldn't pick where you wanted to put the house.
No, you had to be like right in the center of everything. Yeah. And I just got so hooked into pulling the weeds, and mostly they'll go into all the animals, you know, and doing the errands for them. That's like really where I was like, this is so much fun. Yeah. Because it was just, I don't know, like that's just something that I'm like into, just like having tasks to do in a game. I really like that. Yeah.
Because that's the one thing I realized very quickly with you was you really, like, that was your thing. Like, I remember you would be so frustrated when, like, so sometimes the animals would send you on wild goose chases, and you'd have to go to, like, 3 or 4 animals before you could make the exchange. Yeah. And I remember you would be so mad when, like, you would get, like, 4 deep or whatever, maybe 5 deep, and that person would be, like, camping. Or in the igloo or whatever, because you can't do anything at that point. Right. You're just like stuck. It's like, nope, sorry, you can't. I can't. I'm on vacation. I don't want to do nothing. Or if they were sleeping, you know what I mean? Like, so I would remember you like throwing fits, like, because I don't know
because I want to finish it. Like I like finishing, checking it off. Like okay, I finished that. Now let me go on to the next thing.
Because I remember like, so the way it would be set up is. Just to put people in the eyes, like the television was on the wall in front of us. To the left side of the TV, dude, we always sat like this. This is weird because even in the new house, because I was thinking about this, the new house is the same way. So we had the television on the wall in front of us. To the left side of the TV was a recliner that I sat in, and on the right side was a couch that you lay down on. And I remember. You would lay there with Harvick at the time.
That's legit every house we were in.
Yeah, exactly. So you would lay there, and I would actually just mess around on my laptop because I used to have that blog on MySpace back in the day. So So I would just type blogs or do whatever, mess around on the internet while you were playing. And it used to make me laugh because you would sit there and start, like, getting so frustrated. And I would just laugh inside because I was like, this girl's nuts. Like, what is she doing?
When I played, though, I played for hours.
Oh, my God, yes. Yeah, you did. Like, it was... Because you... Okay.
Go over your house, start playing until it was time for me to leave. And, like, the whole time, you didn't even have the TV.
Because you and I had... we didn't... So Toni and I, we both believed in not moving in with each other till we were married. And so through all of our dating, even when we got engaged, you would go home every night. Like, I think one time you stayed the weekend.
Yeah.
And that was... We were together for, like, maybe a year and a half. Or something like that. Like, maybe a year.
It was after we were engaged.
Yeah, we were engaged at that point. But that was the only time you ever spent the night. So... Every night, so the way it would work is I'd work till 5 or whatever. I'd get home, and then you'd work till 5, and then you would come down, like you would come to my house, and then we would eat dinner or whatever we would do, and then you would be like, okay, boom, sit down, lay down on the couch. Yeah, you start playing out, and you would literally play from like 6 to like 8 or 9 o'clock when you had to leave to go home, and then you would go home and then come back the next day and just pick up and go, and. Yep. And that's what we did. Like, that's what we did. Yeah, that was the ascent, you know, like, that was the whole... And the crazy thing is this. I remember sitting there and just like, oh, this girl is amazing. Like, this girl is... She's into the same stuff. Like, this is heaven, man. I'm sitting here, and this girl is playing Animal Crossing, a game I love to pieces... And she's just vegged out, man, and she's, like, zoned in. And she's, like, flipping at the TV. Because that would be like, you would be so mad at the TV. And it was like, this is great. This is great.
Because I was so into video games before I ever met you.
Yeah.
But I just never, like, I was a big Nintendo person, too. Yeah. And I just switched over to PlayStation until... I started playing Nintendo again.
Yeah, with me, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so that was how we first introduced. And then, and I don't want to get into, like, what we liked and what we didn't like, but then I just want to kind of walk through a little bit of where, how we played, or which versions we played and how we got to where we got to. So, now, at this point, I didn't mess with Wild World. On the DS.
We did a little more.
Well, I'll get into that. But at the point, like, we were playing the GameCube version, and then the Wii version gets announced. City Folk gets announced. And Nintendo references that whatever items you get in Wild World, you can transfer over to City Folk. So I immediately went out and bought Wild World and started playing a lot. And I really dove into it a lot what made me really fall in love with it was, I don't know if you remember this, but when I used to work for John, and I went to the Christmas decor convention in Tampa, and he flew me down there. That was just before I left. Was it? No, this was a different one. Was it? No, this was the one. So he flew me down to Tampa for this seminar, and then I think I left maybe like a month later to go to work for Jeff. But so I go down to Tampa, and I remember I was waking up every single day at like 5 a.m. and I was playing Animal Crossing. I would fish, and that's when I was catching sharks and stuff. And like I fell in love with that. Like I started diving deeper into that game, and I came home, and I remember trying to get you to play, but you wanted nothing to do with that game.
I just never got into Wild World. Yeah. Never. I tried. I don't know what it was about it. I don't know if it was because it was on the DS.
Well, the screen was small.
Yeah.
The screen was really super small. Yeah. And because that was before the XLs came out. So I really wasn't a fan of it either because it was really super small. The other thing was it was such a switch from the first
Well, you
one.
didn't do tasks for people a lot, did you?
The tasks were gone.
Yeah.
Well,
And
they
so
were,
that, like,
the tasks were absolutely gone.
yeah.
I think some of the holidays were gone as well.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was it had this barrel effect
Mm-hmm.
where
Oh, yes.
where you would run
How
and the
you view
world
it.
kind of rolled. Yeah, and I was so
couldn't
used to
stand
that. Yeah, I was so used to that Zelda, like the top down, like move
Mm-hmm.
screen to screen to screen feel, which I loved, and then it was gone. You know what I mean? Like they took it away. So
I
then
think it was because I couldn't do things for the animals that killed
it
it
just
for
wasn't
me.
ultimately it really was a different vibe.
It was really boring.
They put a lot of stuff into it
Yeah.
that was really cool, but at the same time they took stuff away that was
Yeah.
even cooler, and it makes sense because GameCube had more power than a DS. It just
Mm-hmm.
made sense that they would have to sacrifice some things in order to make it work.
Yeah.
So then we move on to, we turn around and we start the Wii. You had bought me the Wii for the first Christmas that we were together. That's when we got engaged. Okay, so that Christmas we wound up getting engaged. You gave me a Wii, and I gave you a wedding ring.
Yeah.
Fair trade-off, I guess. You know what I mean? And which ultimately works out is we almost spent the same exact money, like me on the ring and you on the Wii, because you had to buy it off somebody off eBay, a scalper.
Yeah.
You paid like $500 for it, and I got one because I bought little Toni one.
Mm-hmm.
My nephew, I bought him one, and you actually went that night and bought me one from the same guy, and I didn't know that. And so we get it on. We buy the Wii, and you bought me the Wii, and I'm playing all the other games, Mario, Galaxy, and Twilight Princess, and all these other games I'm playing. And then we're just waiting for Animal Crossing, and then Animal Crossing hits, and I think that's where you fell back in love with Animal Crossing, because it was more one of them true to form games.
Yeah.
It also had Wii Speak, which was very cool. That was the first like voice chat that Nintendo had, where for those that don't know, it was a microphone that you plugged into your Wii, you set it on somewhere in the room, and you could talk to like people. And I thought that was the most amazing thing, man. Like, and like I was meeting people from all over the world, and you really weren't playing with that many people, I don't think. Some.
No, I only played, I think, with the people that you knew.
Yeah. So I started to like take full effect of the internet, and we'll get into this stuff because this is more. I don't want to get into the details of all that, but because that's stories that we could talk about later on in different episodes. But so what happens is you and I are sharing the same town, because with the Wii, whatever, you could only have one town on the Wii game. So
And
you
wasn't it one house?
No. You got multiple houses. You couldn't
You
pick.
could.
You could only pick which house you wanted, though.
That was
Like
it.
you could pick the
Okay.
plot, and that was it.
Yeah.
Where in the newer one, you could pick anywhere you wanted on the
Right.
entire map.
That was it.
This one was they had like designated areas where you could build a house,
Right.
and then you would go with Tom Nook, and you could pick the place you wanted. So we were sharing the town, and essentially the way it worked was, I'm very early waking up. I get up 5 a.m. And at that one time when I was working for Jeff, I was getting up at 4 a.m. So I would wake up at 4, and then because I was trying not to mess my clock up when daylight savings switched back, and it was wintertime, so I was still waking up at 4. So when it sprung forward, and I'm waking up at 5, I'm really waking up. So my clock stayed the same because I had to be able to. I was running crews and stuff, and I needed to get out ahead of the guys. So anyway, I turn around and I'm waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I would start the day of Animal Crossing. So I start playing, and then eventually Toni comes downstairs and wants to play. And then I would have to like save my game, hand you the Wiimote and the nunchuck, and then
Or else
you would
you were
start
hearing
playing.
it, because I had to play.
Yeah, oh god. And then I think that went on for, man, easily 2 months.
Yeah.
And then one day you were like, I need my own Wii. And I was like, what? And you were like, I can't do this. I can't be in, like, you don't like me in your town. Because I was so, like.
You couldn't run.
Yeah, I didn't let you run in my town.
That's like when the grass really.
Oh, the grass really disappeared then.
Destroyed.
Yeah, I made you stay on the paths. Well, because when we first started, we didn't know. We were running all over. And we wiped the grass out like that.
It was like dirt.
Yeah, the whole place was dirt. And I was like, then I read that, like, oh, you can put these paths down, and you got to stay on the paths. And it took forever to grow back. And so you were like, I can't play with this guy. This guy is a jack-off when it comes to Animal Crossing. So you were like, we need to go buy my own Wii. And I was like, again, the harps and stuff started playing. I was like, I picked the right person to get engaged to. And so I turned around. We wound up buying another Wii and Animal Crossing City Folk. And then we didn't play with each other a lot. I mean, even when, that's the weird thing. Like, we didn't go in each other's towns that often.
Unless we needed something.
That's more or less what it was. And
yeah.
I was always playing with other people, and you were always playing, by yourself. And then occasionally you'd be like, hey, I need this. Do you have it? And I'd be like, yeah. And then I'd open my gates and come over and get it and go back. And so then we played that for a pretty long amount of time. And then we actually bought 3DSs when they got announced. Because for those that don't remember, they announced Animal Crossing at the launch of the 3DS. And it never came for like 3 years in. Mm-hmm. And so I remember the year it got announced, you and I immediately went out and bought, and they were like $350 a piece. We both went out and bought 3DSs. You never even turned yours on. You only bought it for Animal Crossing. I turn around, I buy mine, and I started playing some other stuff, but there really wasn't nothing on the system, and I was so disappointed with it. And we actually waited, and then the XLs came out. We got rid of our regular 3DSs and went and bought XLs for Animal Crossing. And then I remember that I went and we both had XLs. I went to GameStop and I pre-ordered and fully paid for 2 copies of Animal Crossing. And then you find out that you can download it at midnight the night before it actually launches. And I'm sitting there and you start downloading the game. Like, you didn't even it wasn't even like, hey Bobby, can I? Hey Bobby, I want to do, it was like,
no, I wasn't getting your permission. I was not playing that.
You're like, I guess we're not eating dinner this weekend. Whatever. We're not getting groceries this week. She just went out and just bought this game. And I was like, wow. Like, you just straight up went and did it. And I was like,
and I stayed up.
Oh my God.
I was up like that whole night.
Yeah, you were up to
playing.
like 4 or 5 in the morning.
After it downloaded, I was like.
But what pissed me off was you had like a 4 or 5 hour jump on, well, more than that. And no, because you went to bed, and then I was at GameStop the minute they opened, and I picked my copy up, and I came home, and I was so mad because you had them 4 or 5 hour jump on me, and I was like, man, she's already got it started, man. And I got to do all this.
Competitive.
Oh my God, we were just trying to do everything ahead of the other one and all that stuff. So we wound up getting, and then I think, if I'm not mistaken, I took the second copy and I returned it, and I bought 2 strategy guides. Because that's something else that we always did was, you can go on the internet and go to wikis and all that, but you and I, we tended to like the strategy guides just so we can register and keep track of the fish and all the different items that you get. Because there's so much stuff in this game. It's so deep and all that. Go ahead. Is there anything you want to add to anything I'm saying?
No, I mean, yeah, like when you're talking about the strategy guides and stuff, like we were very competitive with the game, and we were very organized with the game.
Oh my god.
Like so the strat. I mean, we had the guides just out all the time when we're playing. We're just like, oh, I got this. Did you get this? No, I didn't. And we're just like,
Well,
well, I got it.
well, with the Wii. So what happened with the Wii? When we were sharing, this is before we bought our two. We both had strategy guides. Or we had no. With that one, we bought one strategy guide. But the nice thing what Nintendo would do is like, let's say that hypothetically you had fish, like we'll just say like I don't even know, sea bass. So you would have the picture of the sea bass, and then it would have 1, 2, 3, 4. So then I could color in all the player ones, and you would color in all the player twos, and then that way you could see like you got them, you didn't know it all. But the strategy guides, what was nice was it would say to you like, hey, you want a stingray? Stingrays come out like between 3 and 4 p.m. on the beach during this month. And it would be so funny because like you would catch something ahead of me, and then I'd be like, well, you got to get off now because I have to go catch that thing. Mm-hmm. And especially like, what was it? I don't even know how to pronounce it. It starts with the C.
That real wasn't it a real long fish?
Yeah, the colanth. I forget how to pronounce it.
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
So it starts with a C. It only comes out when it's raining.
It's a really long fish.
It was a big one.
Kind of spots or stuff on it.
Yes. It's like a grayish blue.
Yeah.
Super rare to get. It only comes out in the rain, in a certain particular area, certain day of the, like it doesn't come out at night, it's just during the day, and all this crazy stuff. And I remember, like, it would start raining, and, like, we would be fighting over who's going to be on. Like, and I would be, and it was crazy because the way Animal Crossing works, for those that don't know, is you go 1 hour, right? When the next hour hits, the music will change, and it could literally just, boom, start raining.
Or start raining, yeah. Like the weather just stops or starts.
Yeah, and that rain could last an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. Or it could just go all day. Yeah, or it could go 3-4 days in a row. Like, you don't, it's like regular weather. So, it would be raining, and I'd be like, dude, you need to, like, you come on, man. Like, I'd be looking at the watch, like, you're coming up on the hour, man. Come on, let me get back in here. And it was, like, so much, so we were, like, really, when it came to that stuff, we got super stupid.
Especially with that, the bees, catching the bees, like who caught the bee first. The tarantula and the scorpion.
Yes, that would always be like, because you used to piss me off because you'd stay up super late.
Like, so they were always out.
They were always out, and I go like I can't stay. Like now I'm different, but when we were together all the time, when we were in the old house, no, because when we were in the old house playing on the Wii, but then we were in the new house playing on the 3DS. I go to bed at like 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
10 o'clock if I'm lucky. Like now I'm up to
out then.
Yeah, now I'm up to midnight, 1 o'clock, no big deal. But like then it was a different ball game. I couldn't stay up past 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So I go to bed, and you'd always come to bed with me, but you would just stay up. Mm-hmm. And I'd wake up at like 1 o'clock in the morning to go to the bathroom, and there you are, still playing. And then you'd be like, and it used to piss me off because I'd be like, I'd get up to go to the bathroom or something, and then you'd be like, oh, I caught this. Oh, I just got this. Oh, and I'm like, son of a. And then like you would or you would go to the island and be catching fish all night long, like and I'm like, I'd be so pissed because I'd be like, she's gonna get so far ahead of me. It's driving me crazy. Oh, I used to get so mad. But it was, you know what, though? That's the funny thing with that. It's like it drove us, I think.
It's not a competitive game, but yet
we made it competitive. We made it competitive. Like, it was just, and, that's just the way we played. So, on the GameCube, you come in, you're playing the GameCube and all that stuff. Like, was there... I don't want to get into that. I'm forgetting. We got to try to keep it to what we're talking about here. So then we get on New Leaf. We play New Leaf. And And then Amiibo Festival comes out, and we get that on the Wii U. Because we're thinking, we bought the Wii U. You bought me the Wii U for Christmas immediately. And then...
He got all his consoles from me.
Not all of them. I didn't get the Switch from you. You got the Switch from me. No, that's not true. That's not true. You bought me the Switch for Christmas, but I bought you one too in return.
Oh yeah, so, you did. You did.
Yeah, and
after that, it was like we each had to have our own console.
Well, after we got the Wii. That's what it became. Well, because what I'm just going to get into. So we had the Wii U, right? You bought me the Wii U for Christmas, and they put that Animal Crossing channel out, and I swore, like, here it comes. Yep. It's coming. Why did they do this? There's no reason to do this other than the fact it's coming. And that wasn't the reason why I bought a second Wii U, but I remember we were playing I was playing Mario Kart
That's why we had it.
We were playing every Friday night. We had a group of friends that we were all playing together. And I remember saying to you, or no, I'm sorry. I remember you saying to me, we need another Wii U. And I'm like, why do we need another Wii U? And you were like, I can't play on the same TV as you. I want to play on my own TV.
Yeah, because it's split screen.
Because it's split screen. But then you were like, plus Animal Crossing is coming, and I don't want to wait. And I was like, here she goes again. I'm like, yes, let's do it. And we got to the store. We bought the Wii U, and then it never showed up. It never showed up. But then Amiibo Festival comes out, and I immediately bought that, because I was buying Amiibo like crazy as it was. So when they announced Animal Crossing, I was like, I'm in. We played Amiibo Festival a little bit, but we didn't really deep dive into it. Really. We played let's be honest, we probably paid, I don't know, 4 matches on it.
Yeah, it didn't hold my interest.
No, because it's not Animal Crossing. Ultimately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's it can be fun. It has its fun moments, but it's not Animal Crossing. And I think that's a game that if you're really drunk and you have a lot of friends over,
yeah,
it might be
that's like a party game.
Yeah, that's one of those games you want to get with friends that like Animal Crossing, and you can play together. Then Mario Kart comes and throws the Animal Crossing DLC in that we both really enjoyed that. And that was another tease for Animal Crossing coming, because I was just like, oh my God.
Look at the graphics.
Yeah.
It was just...
Everything, there was so much detail onto it that really hit home for Animal Crossing fans. And it was like, this is heaven. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I want. I can't wait. So, that's essentially where we're at.
A Happy Home.
Oh, yeah. So but Happy Home was a little different. Not really an Animal Crossing game either.
No.
I really thought you would deep dive into that game.
And I didn't. I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked the ideas behind it, and I liked the things you could do, but it just did not hold my interest.
Well, the thing of it is we both like designing.
Yeah.
And again, we'll get into details and stuff about the games later on. This is more just going through the history of Animal Crossing and where we lie with it all. So, because we both really enjoy designing and doing things with the game, the original game, I tended to really think oh my God, we're going to fall in love with this game. And it just didn't. It fell a little short. And then Welcome Amiibo comes, and it brought me back a little bit to Animal Crossing. You not so much.
No.
But it didn't really necessarily scratch that itch.
I need my real deal Animal Crossing.
Well,
game.
Let's be honest. That was real deal Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
it was just so far gone, and it was basically bringing you back to the fold. And it was like, did you really want to be there? More or less.
Yeah.
So hopefully the Switch gets one soon.
I feel like it's coming. I just feel it.
I hope so. I hope in the next year. But that said,
it's the perfect console for the game.
Oh my God! And it will.
Yeah.
I keep saying this.
I know.
But I'm trying to just stay on point of the topic of the show. This is where it gets very difficult, because what I don't want to do is because the problem is we have to be very careful about what we talk about, because I don't want to hit the week where it's like, I don't know what we're going to talk about. Oh, we already talked about that. We talked about that. So I'm trying to keep it on point, but what I want to do is, because we're about 45, well, we're about almost 50 minutes in, so we're going to wrap it up at this point. But what I want to do is, I would like to take the last 5 minutes to just basically talk about, like, or discuss, like, well, what do you want to talk about next week? Like, is there a topic you want to talk about next week?
I don't know. I feel like we should just, like, start at the very first game.
Okay.
And just kind of talk about, like, what we really like and dislike about that first game, and just go a little deeper into the first one, and just, continue.
So that's what we'll do. We'll go back to, as Animal Crossing fans know it as, Population Growing, the GameCube version. And we will go in, we'll deep dive on that. We'll talk about things we liked, we didn't like, some achievements that we accomplished in that game, or high points of that game, and things we were really into in that game. So, so far, I mean, I'm happy with the way this went. This was fun. This was fun. Yeah. So, first off, thank you for doing this show with me. I appreciate you.
Thanks for still talking to me.
give it a couple weeks. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So, real quick, Toni, let people know, where can they find you at? Where can they, if they want to follow you and all that stuff, where can they reach out to you?
I am on Twitter at TWHToni, and I also post on Instagram a lot, and I think my name on there is TonyFran78.
Yes.
I changed it so many times, though.
We've discussed changing your names on a couple of the things, just to be more in line with the show, so that might happen in the future. The other thing I want to do is this. Because I'm hoping this becomes very interactive with the community, and I'm leaning on you guys. So if you're listening to the show now, which I'm pretty sure you guys are, and I hope you are, we have a Discord. Go to the Discord. I am going to make a channel called Breaking Bells Podcast. Go in there, and if there's a question, a topic that you want us to talk about, drop it in there, and then I'll compile them. And then when we do this, what are we going to talk about next week? We'll pull them up.
Yeah.
And then, and the way I'll work it is I'll go, I have this topic, this topic, this topic, this topic. I'll let Toni pick the topic. And then we'll say, like, who basically gave us the topic, and talk. And then the next week, we'll cover that topic. So I really want this to be interactive with the community, because I know a lot of the people that follow me love Animal Crossing. So this would be a lot of fun, and a way to get people to interact with what we're doing and all that. For myself, you can go to nintendoguru.com, and I got some good news, Toni.
What's that?
iTunes just accepted the show, so it's actually live on iTunes right now.
Sweet!
So, yeah, man. I literally just did it before the show started.
Wow.
I applied just before the show started, and then in the beginning of the show, it, like, bang, it popped up, and I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
So, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can go subscribe to us on iTunes. I will get it on other things. I'll get it on Google Play Store, everywhere that you can listen to podcasts. I'm just, right now we're YouTube, and we're over on iTunes. We'll get it other places. You can also go to nintendoguru.com and listen to it there. You can download the episode and listen to it there if you like to. So, other than that, Instagram, Twitter, at Nintendo Gurus. So, that is all. Peace out, Preston. You gotta say goodbye?
Oh, yeah, bye!
Who?